You'll figure it out. Your family will figure it out. The people who support you will figure it out. They'll help you along the process. This is a temporary battle that, yeah, you may battle your whole life, but you can really use this as an opportunity to become a better person and become more tenacious.
Dude, are you kidding me? Hey, I'm Greg Grunberg, and welcome to Talk About It, the podcast where we focus on topics that everybody should be talking about, and hopefully they will be, but not only talking, screaming about.
Epilepsy shouldn't keep you from doing anything that you want to do.
Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it.
This season, we are going to continue to talk about living with epilepsy like my son and millions of Americans do. We're also going to look at other related health conditions and causes. Our goal is to knock down, drag out, eliminate stigma, and raise awareness. Oh, and hopefully have a laugh or two along the way. Each of our episodes will feature amazing advocates and champions. We will learn together how to make a real difference in our own lives and in the lives of our communities.
Talking about it is important. It's all about connecting.
Talk about it.
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 Talk about it. Thank you for talking about it.
Thank you for talking about it.
New season, new sponsor. Thank you, Neurelis, and everyone at Neurelis for sponsoring Talk About It. Talk About It is also sponsored by Seizures Are Signs. SeizuresAreSigns.com is dedicated to educating those living with or caring for someone with uncontrolled seizures about the importance of early diagnosis, recognition, and treatment. Seizures Are Signs is made available by Jazz Pharmaceuticals. All right, let's jump right into this episode of Talk About It. Take me out to the ball game, or in this case, talk me out to the ball game. I love when baseball season starts. I love spring training. I love it so much. I shave my head every year. That's not true at all. I shave my head for a movie. Okay, great. Breaking news. I shaved my head. Anyway, can't talk about the movie, but I can talk about this incredible episode. My boys play college baseball. I've talked about that enough. One of them is now out. He played 4 years at LMU, and now Sam Grunberg now batting for the Lindenwood Lions.
That one is well hit, and the ballpark won't hold it.
He's in St. Louis and loving the college experience. But they get inspired by coaches all the time, both on the teams that they're playing on, but also online. And one of those coaches, Joey Hanley, who runs Fearless Sports Performance. He's just an incredible baseball coach. He played high school ball, he played college ball, and now he has this really great facility, and he coaches a lot of up-and-coming players, really great players. He's very picky, as he'll talk about who he coaches. But he inspires kids. Turns out he has epilepsy, and he's not afraid to talk about it. So, talk me out to the ball game. On this episode of Talk About It, we are going to talk with Joey Hanley. He's amazing. You are going to be just as inspired as I am, and maybe we hit it out of the ballpark on this episode of Talk About It. Dude, so happy you're here.
Yeah.
Honestly, we've been trying to do this. You're so busy. We've been really busy, and we're in the same city.
Yeah.
And we sort of have crossed paths, as far in the baseball world.
Yeah.
And so for people who aren't listening, I sit here and I talk so much about our oldest son, Jake, having epilepsy, and he's, second degree Taekwondo and everything, but he played baseball. Mm-hmm. And then when he got hit really hard with epilepsy at 7 years old, his hand-eye coordination, it was tough. He and also like West Hills, I'll even say it now since we're, West Hills baseball. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was tough. Like they all knew that he had epilepsy, and he had the chance of having a seizure. Anyway, when he tried out, I did not intend to talk about this, but it really is something that stung. They knew that he had epilepsy. He killed it trying out. As, little kid, but he just killed it. He was doing so well, and they were like, and I could tell that no one wanted a kid with epilepsy, a possibility of having a seizure on their team.
Yeah.
And so you inspire me that you're talking about this. Mm-hmm. You play baseball, but you're now so successful with your company. Fearless is doing really, really well. Just talk about what it was like, growing up. When did you know you had epilepsy?
I was 15, so I was a freshman in high school. And then it was Christmas night that I had my first seizure. So, going into the 26th, I woke up. It's kind of a brutal story, but I woke up and I felt sick, like to my stomach, like, woof, this is the worst stomach ache I've ever had. So I went into the bathroom. I go and I'm sitting in front of the shower with a bucket in front of me, like, Lord Jesus, if I'm going to throw up, please do it now. And then the next thing I remember was I was on the floor. My head was killing me. I was kind of spinning. I could feel my eyes sort of coming back from rolling. And it was just like blood everywhere. The toilet seat was kicked out of place. Like,
what?
Yeah. It was pretty, because I fell forward and I hit my head. So,
wow.
Yeah, so I fell forward and then I got up and I was still pretty dizzy. And I mean, I was just covered in it. And
where are your parents at this point?
They're downstairs. So I grew up in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
So they were downstairs. You know, I'm freaking out because I'm not totally aware of my surroundings. I'm sort of
never had a seizure before.
No, this has never happened to me. I've never seen myself so bloody, and it was all from my nose and a little bit my head. And I just went downstairs and I just went, Mom, Dad, something happened. And they turned the lights on and my dad went looking for an intruder.
Right, of course.
Yeah. So
and it's just you and your brother, or you have?
I have an older sister too.
Your older sister,
yeah.
Okay. And how much older is she?
She's 2 years older than me.
Okay. Yeah. So she's 17, you're 15. This is happening. I mean, is everybody up? I mean, this is a big thing.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, it was like 1 or 2 in the morning. And then, you know, some time, I remember I felt pretty sick, you know, days leading in. And it was inducing like a lot of panic attacks too, because every time I would feel that sickness coming on, I felt like, okay, maybe I'm going to have whatever just happened.
Right.
We thought maybe I just like sleptwalked or had too much like sugar or something.
Right, or passed out.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And I mean, as a parent, because we went through this with Jake, like not knowing it, he was having petit mal seizures, so he was having those staring spells.
Yeah.
So that we didn't even know those were seizures. I mean, like,
yeah.
you now you know more than you ever wanted to know. Me too, right? But at that time, you're like, what is going on? What is it? So were you sick? Were you? I mean, they were looking for all that stuff, right?
I mean, I didn't go to the hospital or anything. We went on vacation the next day because we were just like chalk it up to sleepwalking and passing out. But,
right.
No, a few months later, I was in the car and I remember I kind of felt that same feeling coming on.
Yeah.
My dad was driving and I just went forward and then I came back to and I was like, that's the exact feeling that it was. And my dad's dad, so my grandpa on his side had epilepsy. And my dad immediately just goes, you had a seizure, we're going to the hospital. So
wow,
that's kind of when we
I would have blamed it on Christmas. I would have gone, it's Christmas. This is why we're Jewish. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to deal with Christmas. Wow, that's interesting. So had they talked about it in your family?
Not really, because from my understanding, my grandfather hit his head playing basketball.
Oh.
So, and I think he was a teenager when that happened. Now, he did have seizures after that continuously. But no, nobody ever, epilepsy wasn't something that like ran in the family. And to my understanding, he and I are the only people that have that. I, knock on wood, other members of my family don't have any of that. But no, I mean, I don't think that ever crossed anyone's mind because his was onset via a head injury. Right. And no one really knew with me. I had a tic growing up. It's more under control now, but like I really shake my head or like little, like facial tics.
Right.
And I thought maybe for a while, and maybe they are linked in a way, but no, I mean, that's the only thing I've had neurologically that was sort of off until that happened.
And that was in Chicago?
Yeah.
And where did you go? Did you go to Rush Medical Center by any chance?
I did go to Rush for a while. I went to
Rush! Because that's where we went.
Yeah.
Jake had brain surgery at Rush.
Oh, wow.
Dr. Smith, Michael Smith, was his doctor there. First of all, I love Chicago. That's why I know. I'm like, now I know I like you because you have that Midwest thing. But yeah, I mean, that's really good care. It's a weird thing. I hate to say it. I don't think anybody should ever have epilepsy, but if you're going to have epilepsy, Chicago has 7 epilepsy centers. Yeah. Someone in the Wrigley family had epilepsy or something because a lot of money was poured into the research.
It was, yeah. And I was at Children's for a while.
Yeah.
But Rush was really where I got the most help. Like I had to do a 5-night overstay at Rush, but they've never pinpointed where it came from with me.
Jake either, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of mine are stress induced. And obviously light, sound can trigger it, but when I get the most stressed out, and being a business owner isn't, you're not short of that too much.
I was going to say.
But, and working with kids. But
not parents.
Yeah.
I mean, parents, we'll get into exactly what you do. I've already introed that in the opening, but I mean, especially where we live out in the West
Yeah.
Valley, every parent thinks their kid is going to go, be not forget D1. They're going to be a pro. They're going to be a pro. But I mean, that fuels your business in a way, but also we have great talent. It's great talent.
We do.
So you spend 5 nights and they find
Nothing.
Oh, nothing. You're not having
So-
any more seizures.
No, they hooked my head up to all those, what is it?
EEG, yeah.
EEGs, yeah. And I do 5 nights. They sleep deprive me some of the nights to see if that can onset anything. They put a light about that far in front of me and flash it, and they progressively make it faster and faster. All it did was make me have a panic attack because I'm like, I don't want to have a seizure, so they turned it off. The 5th day, I was supposed to stay that night. I was like, get me out of here. I want to leave. I'm done.
Yeah.
I think I was 17 or 18. Yeah. But yeah, no, it was odd. I had a lot of weird experiences. I went to Children's. I had to stay overnight. They're like, no, he's doing great. In the car, have a seizure on the way back home. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. I've never been able to pinpoint it, but certain medications have kept it at bay.
Right.
Nothing's perfect.
Right.
I would say right now, again, knock on wood, everything is rolling pretty well.
That's good. Yeah, you're your own best advocate. You know your body best.
Yeah.
Do you still get auras? Do you still get nauseous and sick?
Yeah.
Because Jake we never had that, and it's nice. Not nice, but it's good to have something. So you
it's coming on.
Yeah, so you can sit down or stop the. You drive, so it's like so you can pull over or anything like that.
Yeah.
Did that ever stop you? Did you ever say, "Well, I can't play football because like Nick played football," and it's we were talking about this. I wanted to ask you because now you're in a position to give advice for parents.
Yeah.
And I know your advice is probably. No, if they want to do something, let them do it, and everything.
Yeah.
But there is such a stigma attached to stuff like this.
I mean, I think it's different for everybody because, I only played baseball. That's all I wanted to do. I'm outside of baseball, I'm not a great athlete. So, my interests outside of baseball are art, music. I'm more into that. My dad's an artist, so I'm more into that. I've kind of got 2 worlds separated there. But it stopped me 1 year because I was so sick. I had a summer where I call them confirmed seizures because somebody saw them. I had 11 seizures, like confirmed seizures. I probably had about 3 to 5 more at night. I remember waking up like I had hit my head like really foggy. So somewhere in the like 15 to probably 16, 17 range of seizures in that summer, I lost 30 pounds and I couldn't play because I was consistently lethargic. I couldn't eat. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to go out with my friends. So I had to take that summer off and just get ready. But I was never like, oh, I'm not going to play anymore. I just had to take care of my health for a while.
And how were coaches along the way?
Great.
They were.
Great. I can't speak highly enough of my high school coach. And I remember he was extremely supportive and he gave me admiration for going through it and playing.
This was in Chicago?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
when did you move out?
My parents moved here when I was a freshman in college.
Oh.
I came the year after. So they moved out here in 2017.
Oh,
so
okay.
I moved out here in late 2017 into 2018.
And what college did you go to?
I went to North Central College in Chicago for my first year. I came out here. I went to Moore Park for 1 year because it was too late to enroll into other universities and colleges. And then I went to Whittier for my last 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Studied kinesiology and nutrition science. And then got done playing baseball, went straight into coaching.
So you played baseball in college?
I did, yeah. All 4 years.
Okay, first of all, that's like, let's just talk about that. I talk about, so so Ben played at LMU and Sam is playing at Lindenwood right now.
Yeah.
And he played 2 years JUCO in Glendale.
Yeah.
I continually remind them, and I don't have to because they know, you played sports in college. Like that is the idea of, like I would hire any college athlete, anybody from the military over everyone else, just because there's such a thing about, team sports and having to play by the rules, but also think of yourself, like Sam just got done 10.5-hour bus ride there, 10.5-hour bus ride back, and they got swept all 4 games. Sam hit a home run. He did really well. He batted fine, but still, it's just brutal. And it's like you go through all of that. You have to think of yourself because you need the numbers.
Yeah.
but it's a team sport.
It is.
And there's so much to it.
Baseball is the most individualistic team sport that there probably is.
That's a great way of putting it. Yeah, that's true. More than football.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Unless you're a kicker or something, but it's almost like a tennis match that then breaks out into
that's
a team
true.
activity.
That's
when the
really
ball's
true.
in play.
Yeah.
Wherever the ball is, you are the individual.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, and your brother plays.
He does. Yeah. He's a senior in high school, and then next year he's going to Cal State Bakersfield.
Okay, and he's a pretty good pitcher.
Yeah.
I think we have some video. So, and we've talked about this. We can't pretend like we didn't talk about this. This is my son up. Your brother. Oh, Sam Brunberg Grunny takes him yard. Now, in all fairness, Ty was a freshman.
He was 14.
14. I mean, come on.
Watching the trot now.
And Sam's a senior.
I think it's funny that popped up on screen, and I went, "That's my brother."
Yeah.
Instantly, you knew.
Yeah. Just for
the
the people offline, the viewers. We showed a frame of it, and he goes, "That person in that video is my younger brother."
How did you know that so quickly?
I just recognized it.
That's so crazy.
Coming up on Talk About It.
You get tossed things that they're not fair, you don't deserve, but they're there, and you got to deal with it. And the only way forward is through allowing something to define you that you can battle through, that you can beat. There's no reason to give up or quit.
Take me out to the ball game. This is what Joey said, knowing he had epilepsy, knowing he could have a seizure, but he didn't let it stop him. This guy is inspiring to me. He overcame his seizures and his anxiety around them to be a successful college baseball player and now a coach. It just shows that it affects everyone. And by the way, it affects kids that are younger than college age. It affects old professional athletes, professional MLB players. Did you know that there are pro baseball players that have been affected by this? Here are some examples. Former third baseman and manager Buddy Bell won 6 Gold Gloves in his 18-year playing career, all while concealing his epilepsy diagnosis. In my opinion, it would have been great if he would have talked about it, but to each his own. Greg Walker, former first baseman for the White Sox, collapsed on the field during practice with a tonic-clonic seizure, but he continued to play after recovering from that incident and became a hitting coach with a World Series ring. Jeremy Jeffress, an all-star reliever who battled epilepsy since he was 12, and he did talk about it. We have proof of it. He talked about it back in the day in 2013 with Barry Davis at Sportsnet. Check out this interview.
I never knew when it was going to end, and that was the biggest, part. Never know when it's going to at least get a little bit of control of it, because having them back to back and so frequently was just, wearing on me and on my family. So
it's got to be a scary feeling when whatever they're giving you is not helping, and you're still having seizures and you're still having symptoms.
Yeah, it was, because I would also have some times where I would go, like a 3-month period without having one. That's still not, a good length of time, but, it would give me a little hope every time. So I would go for checkups, and it would say, just keep taking your medicine and keep doing, getting your rest and all that. And, I masked it for a year, and then it just, started happening again. It just never quit. Just thinking of going to sleep so early and, trying to wake up, do other stuff and get active, and all that, and it just never worked for me. There'd be some times where I come back from a game, and I'd be so ramped up that, I either did good or, maybe I did bad or whatever, and I don't go to sleep till about 2 o'clock, and I'll just know that if I wake up too early the next morning, I may have a seizure and no one's there, so a lot of it wear on me.
So Sam, I was talking to Sam. Sam is the one that brought you to my attention.
Okay.
Fan of your content, fan of what you do, and Fearless. And he was just he was so excited. I said, I got Joey. I talked to you because I reached out to you on social media.
Yeah.
And you immediately were like, yes, I want to talk about it. I had no idea that you had worked for the foundation or had been,
Yeah, I haven't been for a while. I think toward the end of college was I was so busy with everything, and then that's when COVID-19 came. So they cut everything off real quick. But during that time, I was so hyper-focused on getting my degree, just finishing out baseball. Because at that, I grew up like, I want to go pro. I want to go pro.
Of course, yeah.
I get to college, I'm playing Division III baseball. I still have that aspiration. But then, I get to a point where it's like, okay, you know what? Not getting there. I love coaching. I would help my teammates out with things. So I was just so hyper focused that I wasn't able to do and regretfully, I wasn't able to do many of the things they were asking me to do. Can you go to this event? I mean, even if I wasn't playing baseball in college, it would have been very difficult to do so because I was taking, I think, 2 labs extra than what was required, just so I could not have to take 1 extra semester to graduate. So, because I was eager to get into the coaching world.
That's great.
It's been a huge passion of mine in the off season. When I was going into college, I didn't play summer ball that year. I just worked at the facility that I trained at and coached. And nothing makes me happier than coaching. I like it a lot more than playing. I played men's league for a little while.
Yeah.
I tore my UCL doing it.
You did.
Yeah. Never had a single injury for my arm while I was playing baseball. I play men's league.
Of course, right away. And was it where it was like, let's just go one more. Let's just go one more. It's always for me. It's like at the end, I don't care if I'm playing pickleball or something. They're like, let's just go run one more.
Yeah.
And that's when you hurt yourself.
I felt it, and I was like, all right, I'll try one more hitter. And I threw the ball, and I was like, get me off the mound.
Wow.
Somebody give me a Bud Light.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. So when did you take it seriously? Because you started Fearless?
Me and my friend Alex Acevedo, he's a doctor of physical therapy. He graduated from USC not that long ago, so we've been running the company together. We started it. He was in school for a while, so I kind of got on the ground running, and now we run it together. And yeah, so that was our start was, and I met him training down in Florida at what's now the Baseball Armory, formerly known as the Florida Baseball Ranch. So that was, that was our story together. We just kind of kept in contact the whole time.
What's interesting is that you're partnered with somebody that now, oh yeah, you have to go to them because he's a doctor.
Yeah.
And what do you specialize in? Like, give me the elevator pitch on why someone should have their son come train with you.
Yeah. So we train baseball players 14 plus. We don't work with guys who are not going to put in the work. So we vet out these guys pretty heavily when they come into the program. We have an application for everything.
That's great.
We get on calls or we meet them in person to make sure that they're going to be a right fit. Iron sharpens iron. I don't want to be around a guy who's not there to work hard, just there to be with his buddies or because his mommy and daddy want him to do it.
Right.
We take care of the skill development, so the pitching. We take care of the arm care, the strength and conditioning, and then any of the recovery aspects of it. So it's kind of the full development all under one roof. Mm-hmm. Instead of being able to go to a pitching coach and then you got to go to your strength coach and then a recovery lab, you can do it all in one place.
And tell me the website again so people can hear it.
It'll be fearlesssp.com.
Fearless SP. The SP is sports performance. So Fearless SP. And then what are the socials?
So the main Instagram is at Fearless Sports Performance, and then you can find me at Joey Hanley FSP, and then Alex's, I believe it's
Dr. Vado.
Dr. Vado. There we go.
Dr._Vado.
I think he was Alex FSP until he finally got his doctorate. So now he's the doctor.
He puts on that white lab coat.
Yeah. Doctors.
There we go, man.
You're better than me.
House.
Exactly. I go to wardrobe to get that when I'm acting. Okay, so let's talk about some of the things, some of the hurdles coming up because of epilepsy. Like, what's the worst thing you've had to experience? Stigma-wise, that from somebody.
Stigma-wise.
I'm talking about even dating. I mean, I see you're married.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you are honestly. You're exactly the person that we love having on the show because it's important for people to see someone like you and say, yeah, this is who I mean, this is what I say all the time, and Jake says it too. Is like Jake has epilepsy. Epilepsy doesn't have him.
Yeah.
So it's like we all have something.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, you're dealing with it, and it's not going to define you. But you have not let it stop you from doing anything, No,
it's honestly, I don't think about it that often. It's not, it's like you said, it's not something that defines you. Because life isn't fair. We get tossed a lot of things that we don't deserve, but
a curveball, if you will.
Hey, life throws you a curveball. You take it out, you go yard.
Your son hits it out. Yeah, no, but I mean, You get tossed things that they're not fair, you don't deserve, but they're there, and you got to deal with it. And the only way forward is through. So, allowing something to define you that you can battle through, that you can beat, that there are people out there willing to help you with, that there are people out there talking about it. There's no reason to give up or quit. So, I mean, when I was younger, yes, I probably thought about it more. I would say that stigma-wise, in high school with friends, it was more difficult when I developed it. I found a really great group of guys that I still keep in contact with. One of their weddings coming up. They're the boys.
I love it.
They're the boys, the dogs.
And that was in college or in
high school? High school.
Yeah.
So we just call it the Leps. Joey's got the Leps, but
that's so funny. The Leps.
Yeah, but no, I think that there were, in high school, there are people that they're afraid of what maybe it's going to look like if you have one.
Yeah.
But I would say actually the ones that got under my skin the most were the people who felt bad for me, and the people who were more just like, "Oh, are you okay?" It's like, I'm fine.
I know.
I'm living life.
Trust me, even as a caregiver, like we have other parents that they just start with that. I mean, that how do you do it? How do you deal with it? Oh, like, what are you talking about? And I know they mean well. People do mean well.
They mean well.
Yeah.
They mean well, but at the end of the day, it's like I don't want to be treated like I have this like I can't speak, I can't talk, like I can't walk. It's hard at the beginning. And there are people, it's not just individuals who get affected by it, it's families. It's friends, it's spouses, it's girlfriends, it's boyfriends, whoever it is. Like, I've seen my family go through the difficulties of, me having a seizure at an airport, me being depressed for it, me having the anxiety about it, me not wanting to leave the house. I've seen, my wife have fear when she's seen it, because there's a lot of uncertainty, especially if it's something you've never seen before.
How far into your relationship did you let her know? And
right away.
Okay.
I just said this is something I have. I mean, when I met her,
first date,
yeah, when I met her, she was 22, I was 23, and I just said, like, I'm not playing games. You're either my girlfriend or you're not. So we got married a year later. So very serious about that and very open book. Like, I'm a very open book person. So I just said, this is what I have. This is what it looks like. In the event that it happens, this is what you should do. And I was really like, do not call 911.
Yeah.
I don't like going through that.
Yeah.
So she luckily didn't.
You are the host of Talk About It. Like, you have shown. I'm sorry to interrupt you because I want to hear the rest of it, but it's important. Talk about it.
Yeah.
If they can't deal with it, it's on them. I love what you just said. It's like, you're either my girlfriend or you're not. This is what you're getting.
Yeah.
Right? So lay it out there. I love that.
But yeah, no, I told her, this is what happens. Luckily, she didn't see one for years. I think I might have had one, not might have, but I did have one a couple months back or something. That was the first time she saw it. I obviously feel bad in that moment just because that's something that they have to deal with. It's something that, but it's not like she was ever like, oh, I'm not sure about this one. No, I mean, she's always been great about that stuff. And I mean, it's not who you are. It's not,
right.
You don't walk around with a big purple ribbon on all the time.
Right.
It's just like, I don't know. I don't think about it that often. I often forget about it. I have an alarm that tells me to take medication, because I'll forget.
Coming up on Talk About It.
Life isn't going to stop for you. People don't just stop for you. These things continue, but you have to go through it. So, don't panic, but be diligent, because if you're not, you don't take it seriously, then you're going to seriously put yourself in harm's way.
All right, so having two college baseball players has really taught me a lot about team sports and how hard it is to hit a baseball. That's like one of the hardest things in sports, right, is to hit a baseball. My boys have taught me that being prepared is always important. Joey, in this interview, just talked about, and he's talking about, how he's doing so well that he forgot that he has epilepsy, and he has to remind himself through, setting an alarm to take his medication, which I highly recommend. But because he has talked about it with his girlfriend, she's prepared. She knows what to do in case he has a seizure. And in baseball terms, it's a lot like, going to the batting cages and just being prepared for any situation. a slider, a curveball, a fastball, high and inside. Know what to do. Run it through your head. As an outfielder, my son always used to say, he'd be like, all right, so there's a man on first and a man on third, so no doubles, they call it. Be prepared. And the first step to do that is to talk about it with the people around you. Talk about it with your coaches, your spouse, your friend, your teachers, so that they are prepared. It will lower your stress, it will lower your anxiety, and it could end up saving your life. What would you say to somebody who they just had their first seizure? I mean, would you tell them, don't freak out? Because this is what I say when parents call me. I'm the red phone for a lot. They're like, hey, you've been through this. Do you mind? I'm like, yeah. This step I hate. Give them my number right away. So they'll call me and they'll be like, we don't know. And I tell them it's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. I don't know what level of okay that's going to be because I don't know their situation. Like you said, everybody's different. But like, what's the first thing? Because you must have people call you
here and there. Just because I haven't been as openly talking about it for a while, just with business. And then someone recently told me, like, you got to share your story, which is, I think, where we connected.
Yeah. Well, you did on social media.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when someone was like, share your story, be unique. I've shared it a couple times, but that was the first time I think I really put it out there, like, in an Instagram reel and really talked about it. But, I mean, that's tough because everyone has different kinds of seizures, and none of them belittle the other. Mm-hmm. They're all difficult in their own way. And you can get injured in the process or not. I've had it where I've had a seizure and my friends caught me before I fell. And my first one, I fell face first into the floor and bled everywhere. So it's tough to say what your first piece of advice is because you don't know what's coming next.
That's true.
You don't know if it's a one-time thing or if you're about to experience what many others experience, which is a series of them. And then you have to go on this journey figuring out what's wrong while you're in the middle of school or you're in the middle of life. So, I mean, because life isn't going to stop for you, like people don't just stop for you. These things continue, but you have to go through it. So my piece of advice is, don't panic, but be diligent.
Yeah.
Understand that this happened. It's a serious thing.
Yeah.
And just be on top of it, be diligent, be open, be honest.
Yeah.
Because if you're not, you don't take it seriously, then you're going to seriously put yourself in harm's way.
All right, let's go to baseball because you're so knowledgeable in this area. What do you say to parents? Like their kid is showing some promise. Oh, he can throw the ball. He's really good. I'm talking about really young, like they're 13, and they're just about the age where you would go, okay, but like, let me ask you this. Do you encourage kids to play multiple sports?
Yes. Until you I think specializing is tough because if you are really, really good, okay, that's fine. Specialize by the time you're 15 or 16 years old, but play multiple sports. You're going to be a better athlete. Like the best baseball players are the best athletes for the most part. Like there aren't that many Bartolo Colons out there.
Right.
So that's why, converted, pitchers who are converted from shortstop are usually really good because they're really athletic. So, play sports in the off season, play sports in season, especially when, you're 10, 11, 12, 13. It's not like it's a super strenuous season.
Right.
That's something I didn't do a whole lot of because I just didn't like sports that much. I just liked baseball. That was it.
Yeah.
But, like, for example, my sister played every sport and was amazing at it. She's the best athlete in the family.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
My dad was a great baseball player. He played basketball. My brother has, when you're young and like COVID and all that stuff is going on, you kind of have to specialize because there really aren't that many things going on.
Yeah.
So he and I more specialized, but he's a better athlete than I am. Like he can go play pickup and you'd think he's a good basketball player. And if I play pickup, I'm playing hot potato. It's like ball, go.
You take the ball.
That's hilarious. I don't want this.
I want it out of my hands.
I'll tell you how to do it. Yeah. I'm a coach, but I don't want to. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah. So where did your sister play volleyball?
She played at North Central as well for 4. So we went to college for 1 year together.
Oh, okay.
She stayed. I left. I wanted to come to California because it had just more baseball opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for kids out there that are, because Sam got kind of screwed in the portal, like with the portal and COVID and everything. When he was coming out, it was like he was up against 6-year seniors that had eligible years, and these programs that he was being offered, they weren't great program. Now he's in St. Louis. He loves the team, loves it, But dude, it's covered in snow. It's 14 degrees there right now.
Yep.
It's like, what?
I don't miss that.
And I did the Pete Rose documentary. I produced the Pete Rose documentary. And of course, I had Sam and Ben come to set and hang out with Pete. And yeah, he's an old guy and everything. But Pete said, he goes, wherever you play, make sure it's warm weather.
Yeah.
That's what he kept saying. He was just like, I don't care what it is. Make sure it's warm weather. And so obviously that didn't stick with Sam because we fell in love with the coach and the facility and everything. And Sam had like he had to make a decision. It was like, it was crazy. But the pressure that's put on these kids now,
it's a lot.
It's a lot, right?
It's a lot because there are kids who are 16 years old that are already being groomed for the draft.
Yeah.
And they're 16. So they're just learning to drive and they have a bad game and everyone's going, they're overrated. They're not good.
It's crazy.
So the amount of pressure that is placed on these kids is unfair in a way, but life's unfair.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's pressure from parents to be the best of the best because they want to push that on you. Not every parent, but there are parents out there who they really push that on their kid.
Yeah.
And then there's pressure from their peers and their coaches. I mean, there's pressure everywhere, but there are plenty of kids, especially in California, who are 18 years old, 17 years old, that are not going to go play college baseball. They're going to go get drafted. And the amount of pressure that they've felt growing up is probably insane. I trained a kid he's at Texas right now, but he was part of the draft last year. He ended up getting drafted later in the reserve round by the A's. But shout out Dylan Volantis at Texas. So he's killing it. But that was a lot of pressure. I saw the way that really shaped and changed him for a while because, that's a goofy kid right there who, didn't really take much seriously. A lot of kids, they take their walkout song super seriously. He's listening to like Call Me Maybe, Starships, like those are his walkout songs.
But it is true. It's like there are like the Call brothers, right? They played with us. And Phoenix is killing it at UCLA.
Yeah.
They did get drafted and they chose to go school.
Yeah.
But if you're a pitcher, like you go to school and you get hurt. Like so how do you, what do you got to weigh that? And then also, are they too young? Like college is good. College is good to have that experience.
I think for some people when it comes to the draft, one is money. How much money are you going to get signed for? Because are you going to get that opportunity again? That's not guaranteed.
Really
right?
good point, yeah.
But then there's also the aspect of, okay, I could get paid a lot of money, but I'm not mature enough to go compete or to even mentally be prepared for the demands of what the minor leagues are going to be.
Yeah.
So there's also that aspect too of, am I mature enough to do it? And, all these kids, they have advisors who hopefully give them good advice.
Yeah.
And, you see guys who go there and they flourish. You also see kids who go down and you don't hear their name again in the system.
By the way, Sam had a great Joe Oliveri. I don't know if you know who Joe is, but he's great and he works. There's a bunch of these advisors that work with kids, and if your son is, or daughter is doing really well in sports in high school, it's worth it. If you can afford it, to have somebody or go to Fearless Sports Performance or somewhere like that. I'm not just giving a plug. You guys have experience.
Yeah.
Listen to these people. Don't be blinded by it because honestly, the advice that you give people.
I'm very blunt too.
Yeah.
I will tell a kid, like, I've had parents actually say, we're not coming back because I had a kid who he was pursuing schools that were far above his level. And I just said, I think you need to focus on schools that are in this level.
Yeah.
And the parent wouldn't have it. Wasted tons of money on showcases and travel ball, and he's at the exact level that I recommended. I don't train this kid anymore. I haven't talked to this kid since. He was a great kid, but that goes into the pressure of it. But I'm very blunt. I will say, like, you are good enough for this. You have the potential for that, but I'm not going to tell the kid who clearly shouldn't be where they're going to be.
Yeah.
And,
and by the way, if for some reason they get to that school, they're not going to play. It's like, what are you going to do? Why go to a school that you're not going to play? All right, we got to wrap up.
Date the chick that wants you.
Exactly. Yeah, you're at the dance and somebody wants to dance with you. Yeah. Dance with them.
Real quick before you wrap, any advice for Pirates fans? I'm a lifelong Pirates fan. What do? We just need a page one rewrite, as you would say, Greg.
Yeah.
Rely on Skeens.
We just know what's going to happen. He's going to be a Yankee or a Dodger in 2 years.
Probably.
That's just the way
Probably.
it goes. Yeah.
Cannot thank you enough for coming on. Really, really appreciate it. Like, this has been awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Because sports is such an important aspect of my life, my kids' lives and everything, baseball especially. And, I just all I really wanted you to do is come in here and watch your brother pitch to Sam. But really appreciate it. And again, just fearlesssp.com.
Correct.
Okay. People can check it out there. And thanks for what you do. Thanks for talking about it, because it's important. I know you haven't thought about it in a while, but when I saw your post, it just really motivated me. And I was like, look at this guy, man. Successful, happy people that want to share their story. That's what it's all about.
If you're going through an epileptic, journey, as we'll call it, you'll figure it out. Your family will figure it out. The people who support you will figure it out. They'll help you along the process. Like I said earlier in the interview, the only way forward is through. If you allow these circumstances to make you a bitter person, to make you, someone who resents more often, then that's who you'll become. But if you push through, if you actually look at this as an opportunity to become a mentally stronger person, to have a different outlook on life, especially, for those who have had, near-death experiences with it. This is your opportunity to mold yourself into the man or the woman that you can be, to contribute to society in any way that may be, to become a better father, son, husband, wife. This is a temporary battle that, you may battle your whole life, but you can really use this as an opportunity to become a better person and become more tenacious.
Dude, are you kidding me? Thank you. Thank you. I mean, that speaks to so many people. I think that's our opening line and our closing line. That was just fantastic. Again, Joey, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Talk About It with Greg Grunberg. Sponsored by Neurelis and by seizuresaresigns.com. Thank you to our special guests for joining us, and thank you to J.J. Abrams for the theme music that you're hearing right now. Talk About It is produced by Ken Lowenberg, Greg Grunberg, and Nick Marzak. Editing, directing, and incidental music by Nick Marzak. Go to talkaboutitonvideo.com to watch these episodes, and as always, don't forget to talk about it. This podcast is a production of the Talk About It Company and Motel Podcasts.